Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam, and today we're gonna have a special guest coming in. We've done a few collaborations before, and we're gonna be talking about three gambling and casino stocks. And of course, the guest is Ignas from Dandy Finance. He's another fellow financial YouTuber, and I'll link his channel down below. Please go check it out and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. And we're gonna get right into it. Okay, so the three stocks we're gonna be looking at are Wynn Resorts, Las Vegas Sands, and Caesars Entertainment. Okay, and first off, we can see Wynn Resorts down year to date by um, about 19%. However, over the past 6 months, it's been on a rally and it's been up by 50, close to 55%, right? And this paints a picture that a lot of investors are pretty positive on the development in 2021. Hopefully, vaccine gets spread widely and enough people are inoculated um, to have mass immunity, okay, to have herd immunity. That's what they call it. All right, and it generally looks like there is a lot of optimism in Wynn Resorts and in casino stocks in general, okay? And so we can see Wynn Resorts is a $12.4 billion company, forward PE ratio of 11. So forward-looking earnings are looking pretty strong, pretty good valuation if the forward PE is 11. We can see also that the shares shorted are 12%. Okay, so uh, decently high, but not as high as I've seen other shares being shorted. Okay, so there's a variety of factors that are pointing towards, well, it could have a delayed recovery, but it could also take off in 2021. And this goes for all casino stocks, okay? And this one article in the Motley Fool is actually bearish on Wynn Resorts. It's saying that Macau has a long road to recovery. Um, Las Vegas Sands, for example, is reportedly considering selling its Las Vegas properties to go all in Asia, primarily Macau. Um, but for the time being, Wynn Resorts has more exposure to the market, right? And Macau is at least partly or more open than the U.S. location, so it's receiving most of its revenue from the Macau location right now. Okay, um, so saying that, for example, Wynn Resorts is too exposed to the VIP market. It's poised to crash again. Las Vegas, due to this was written like a couple of weeks ago, so they're talking about Thanksgiving holiday when a lot of new lockdown restrictions were taking place. And it's also late to the sports betting game, right? So of course now, since people can't bet in casinos, they gamble online wherever they can. Okay, and they're saying that Wynn Resorts is late to the game. Um, and then there are unknown knowns and long odds. All right, so um, let's take a look at these a bit more in depth. So Wynn and Las Vegas Sands are the biggest players in Macau, right? So Caesars Entertainment doesn't have any locations in Macau, which is a pretty good for revenue in terms of gambling. Okay, um, so the casinos, of course, are subject to strict laws, but with such a large base of visitors on the island, these casinos are set for big profits in 2021. Why is that? So the revenue numbers produced in 2020 were awful, most months down 90% or more. That leaves a very low floor for these companies to succeed. And so, of course, as the pandemic starts to subside, that'll happen by mid 2021, as we should see crowds return to these casinos. Okay, so that's more paints in more of an optimistic light. However, I'm not so sure whether or not we'll be able to have mass inoculations, uh, even in the first half of 2021, right? Like trying to mass vaccinate a couple billion people is going to be a very, very hard job to do, especially if some people will actually refuse being vaccinated due to the anti-vaxxer movement, for example. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm as optimistic, but I do think that stocks like Wynn Resorts, Las Vegas Sands will recover. Okay, um, another very interesting piece, and this goes for the other two stocks, are that shrewd investors can delay paying taxes on profits by a year if they wait until January to sell off their winners. Similarly, short sellers who have made money can wait until the new year before covering their shorts. So this article goes into that Wynn Resorts and other stocks that are heavily shorted and that are poised to recover, these sort of recovery stocks, such as retail, for example, that they will recover, and a lot of shorts will start to cover their positions into the new year, which would cause the stock price to jump even more. Okay, so again, we've seen Wynn Resorts, their short percent of float is 12%. Okay, with something like Las Vegas Sands, which stands at $58, their short percent of float is quite high at 52%, right? Which is uh, quite ridiculous. But that's just short percent of float. Short percent of shares outstanding though is only 1.57%. Okay, so not as concerning there. Um, However, their valuation is a bit higher. We can see forward PE of 37 compared to Win, which is around 11. Okay, and same thing happened to Las Vegas Sands Corp. We can see it was around like $73 before, of course, the pandemic hit, and now it's down 17%. So again, still nicely recovering if we're looking at like the 6 month trend. We can see sort of the same similar deal here, up 31%, and much bigger market cap of 44 billion compared to Wynn Resorts. And Caesar stock, we can see again year to date. It's actually up on the year to date, so this is quite incredible. It's up by 22% actually on the year, and on the 6 month chart, it's up even more than that. It's up by 84%. So Caesars is by far the one that's the most um, had the most gains in the 6 month chart, and is even up on the year to date. So I'd be very careful on a stock like this. That Caesars, of course, all of these gambling companies had to take out a bunch of debt, and yet Caesars is up year to date. Okay, even though they've had a revenue down 90% for most months. Okay, and we can see forward P is actually 9, so that's actually quite low. So future earnings are probably expected to be pretty high, and shares percent of float is 6.5. Whereas shares percent of shares outstanding is 5.63%. So we can see actually Wynn Resorts actually has the highest amount of shares shorted. Okay, so this again might be a good opportunity to get in now before quite a big run up, if what this article is saying is true, if the shorts do cover their positions. Okay, and again, not much news on Las Vegas Sands. However, it should be noted that it's nice that Wynn and Las Vegas Sands are both diversified by having properties in Macau. Caesars does not have that, but Caesars actually and Caesars Entertainment clear the U.S. antitrust waiting period for its proposed combination with William Hill PLC, which is a recognized and trusted brand in the global sports betting and gaming market. Okay, so again, like I said, a lot of these casino companies are looking to get into online gambling as a way to supplement their income from, of course, their hard properties where people actually come in and gamble in their casinos. Okay, so, which is a very, very good move. And I would be concerned that something like Wynn Resorts doesn't have much of an online gambling presence, and that's where I believe a lot of their revenue will come from in 2020 and beyond. Okay, so these are just my three takes on the stocks. I still do think that overall, Wynn Resorts is definitely by far my favorite stock. But we'll hear what Ignas has to say on his technical analysis, and this will show you whether or not you should be buying any of these casino stocks or gambling stocks anytime soon. Okay, so let's give it up to Ignas, and thank you so much for sticking with it and listening to me today.
Hey Adam, thank you for inviting me back on the channel. And hello everyone, I hope you had or are still having a great Christmas break. But let's get into the business, and we have the weekly price chart for Wynn Resorts. Comparing what we have now to the March lows, we are on a considerable uptrend, but there already have been two very distinguishable reversals. First one was in the middle of June, and we had the second one by the end of August. The same reversals can be seen in the histogram of the MACD. Starting with November, we had a huge move up, but looking at the MACD, that strength is losing steam. So I wonder if we could see a similar reversal like the last two that we already had. Let's change for the daily chart. If we look into the MACD, in the middle of December, the 12-day moving average crossed the 26th one to the lower side, and that suggests to me that we could be looking into some weakness ahead. So I would be a bit cautious buying right now. Now let's change for the Las Vegas Sands, and we have the weekly price chart. The stock is moving similarly to Wynn. We have a distinguishable uptrend from the March lows. In the first half of November, the price reached the 200-day moving average, but it acted as a good resistance. We can find that from there the price was moving sideways, up and down under the 200 line. If we check onto the MACD, the histogram there is already showing weakness, and the 26-day moving average is catching up to the 12 one. Let's change for the daily chart. In the second part of September, the MACD went from strength to weakness, as the 12-day moving average crossed the 26 one to the lower side, and it was moving lower as the price went sideways. But now for 3 days in a row we can find strength in the histogram of the MACD, and that suggests that we could see more strength ahead. Let's take a look into Caesars, and this is the weekly chart. There has been a lot of strength in the stock already, and looking into the MACD, there is not much weakness there. We have the end of July and the end of October, where the 12-day moving average was showing some weakness, but then it reversed and didn't go below the 26th one. Let's change for the daily chart. On the daily chart we can find these two distinguishable waves, and that is very much similar to what we can find on the MACD. The moving averages of the MACD is already showing a similar pattern, and the histogram is already moving into weakness. With that in mind, I believe that we are looking into red days ahead. That was a lot to take into. Let's take a small break. After looking at the three stocks, I believe that we currently have the most potential in Las Vegas Sands. There was weakness in the MACD for more than a month, and the price was moving sideways for longer than that. But we are now seeing strength in the relative strength index and potential for a reversal in the MACD. So in my opinion, this strength could continue, and then we will be seeing green days ahead. So that is it for the charts today. Don't forget to put a thumbs up, as it really motivates to keep going. Thank you for watching, have a nice New Year celebration, and I hope to see you all back here next year.